Welcome back. Thank you. You can cut the music because we're giving away some very expensive things. Okay, don't tell the people outside there. It's good that you're inside this room. We are going to give away 3 luxury watches. Swiss military watches, Swiss made, very good, high quality. Don't tell the people outside. And 1 cross watch, top quality luxury watch, courtesy of Aura Concept. So to present the watch, can I call onto stage Mr. Murli Menon to present the watches? Come, Murli. Those people who never put the name card in the name card bowl. No, I don't need the music. I don't need the music. Thank you. Those people who not put the name card into the name card bowl can now put your name card into the name card bowl. The gentleman there in the striped shirt just escaped from jail. He's right there. And you can only put 1 name card, yeah? More than 1 name card, then you will be disqualified. We will be very cross with you. Yeah. Free watch lah, now running inside. Come. Never mind. Enjoy your tea. Okay, going. James, good one. High quality, solid watches. Don't say I didn't give you a watch lah. Okay, Ali. 1 minute. Very good. Okay, Imran. Rock. For those who just came in, we are giving away 2 curry puffs. Yeah, just sit down quietly and enjoy your tea and all that, yeah? Oh, Ali, now a lot of people are coming in. Okay. Make sure nobody from Aura Concept put the name card inside, yeah? Banned. But my company can put inside lah. No problem. Okay, everything is good. Ali. Krishnamurthy, now you're putting your name card inside. Yeah, you already put earlier, I saw. This is the second name card you put inside. Anthony, is anybody outside still? Okay, good. Thanks. Joe, you're supposed to put 1 only. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to Mr. Murli. Murli, come over here. Maybe you want to say something about the watches. Thank you for your very kind gesture to support our event by donating these watches to our lucky audience. Maybe you want to say a bit about the watches.
First of all, thank you, Ham. Thank you for allowing us to do this. I've always attended any event conference organized by your company. I always find it very interesting. And it's a very enlightening experience to be here with everyone. Thank you once again. And we're just taking this opportunity. We are actually distributors of these watches. Cross, I'm sure most of the people here would have heard about it. It's one of the oldest writing instrument brands, an American brand, 150 years old. And they now have a watch line, which we have started distributing. And Swiss military is the original watch of the Swiss Army, the Swiss military watch. They have a lot of brands called Swiss Army, Swiss that, Swiss this, but this is the original watch, 100% Swiss made. And we thought this is a good opportunity to have all the corporate crowd under one roof, because a big chunk of this business for these brands also come as corporate gifts. You can customize, you can do logos and emblems, etc. So we're lucky that we are getting this opportunity to announce this to everyone and give away these watches. Thank you.
Thank you, Murli. Hold on, stay here. I think Ali, enough already. Come, bring. Otherwise, everybody want to put. Lah. Sekarang baru rajin. Malam tak nampak pun. Okay. Thank you, Ali. Okay. I call your name once, then you come very fast, because this is like a spirit. Okay. Pick one, sir. Yes. Oh, this one is a setup lah. Hold on. No, never mind, never mind. Yes, the winner of our Swiss Army, Swiss military watch is Sheila Gopal from Digital 5. Sheila? Going once? Oh, okay. Very good, very good, very good. We got a pair, so we got lady, we got man. So cantik lah, you lady. Okay. No, you won't get a pair, you will get one only lah, the lady one. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause to Sheila. Thank you. McCain. Thank you. Thank you. Picture, very nice. Watch it. Okay. Very good. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for being here. The watch is worth about 7,000, yeah? Don't tell anybody. Okay. One more. Aaron Kavi, don't look at me like that. Okay. Special winner, Candice from Media Consortium Corporation, MCC. Candice. Oh, okay. Two ladies already. Very good. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Put lah, some more name card. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Big round of applause. Thank you very much. One more, sir. Final one, sir. I'm not looking. Oh, okay. From says.my. Terence. Terence from says.my. Oh, well done, Terence. This one is the most expensive one, Terence. Just for you. Special. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Murli. Really appreciate it. Yeah? Thank you. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've spent the full day listening to a lot of speakers coming from a lot of places. Now, for the first time, we will listen to a gentleman friend of mine who is a marketer. And he's the director of digital marketing at Singtel. Please give it up for Mr. Miguel Bernas from Singapore.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm feeling a little bit like an out-of-towner in more ways than one. So first of all, because I am from out of town, so I flew in from Singapore a little bit earlier today. But also because we've heard from a bunch of some really interesting tech gurus and interesting, of course, the very cool technology companies. Now you're about to hear from big corporate. And big corporate has we think a pretty interesting story to tell about our own experience with social media in particular. So I joined Singtel just a little bit over a year ago, February of last year, and I had a big job. So I was asked to set up a digital media practice within Singtel. And one of the big jobs there was to set up a social media strategy and implement it across a number of media, of course. And so I've thought to myself, okay, Singtel, big successful company, by every definition, really the kind of the leading mobile phone operator in Singapore, millions literally of subscribers, very big successful company. So I figured social media strategy is really just a fancy way of saying finding fans and keeping them loyal and keeping them engaged. So I figured the job can't be that hard, right? Well, little did I know, at the time that Singtel entered social media, specifically their first Facebook page, if you had a picture of what a Singtel fan looked like, this is probably what he looked like. This was around the launch of, or at the introduction of a number of services, especially at the time our interactive television business called Mio TV. And there was a lot of negativity, a lot of frustration around, let's just say, certain gaps in the service that, that Mio TV had at the time. And so the result was a lot of angry people, and where would they go to vent their frustrations but online, specifically in Facebook. And there are a number of interesting, shall we say, colorfully named Facebook pages that were created around this time, and no real presence from Singtel officially. And so the task was, what then does the company do? So in response, and I guess not unlike a lot of companies who enter into social media for the first time, they were doing it in response to a crisis. So they set up their own page, and then were able to address some of the issues that they had around that time. And slowly but surely started to address some of the concerns. And this is the kind of stuff that you would see posted online at the time. And a lot of the frustration was about the fact that they would complain about things and not really get very much response from Singtel. So this is kind of the environment in which I joined early last year to try and kind of figure out what's the next step then. Okay, we've done this, we've engaged the customers, we've actually entered into Facebook, where do we go from here? A lot of the reason why we have to do this, of course, is that this is a room full of marketers, so a lot of you will recognize the traditional funnel. Basically, the process by which people narrow down from considering a number of brands to fewer brands. And typically, there's a role that each medium plays in this thing, in this process. Used to be pretty straightforward. The truth is today, because of social media, and basically you have the emergence of media that really didn't exist 6, 7 years ago, there's a lot of attempts to re-illustrate the traditional funnel. So here's one way of doing it. You've got a few brands, and then more brands, and a few brands, and then more brands, and et cetera, et cetera. You've got other ways of doing it this way, where you have a whole bunch of different inputs from different sources. You've got all kinds of arrows going here and there, people going part way down the funnel, going back up, et cetera, et cetera. And then you've got some people who have abandoned the whole funnel altogether and kind of call it an hourglass. How it kind of goes from more to few, and then as you go into the advocacy and retention stage, it starts to branch out again. There's a lot of ways to think about it, but I guess the point is that it's no longer so linear, right? The way by which a customer researches, looks for opinions, gathers, considers whether or not to use your brand is no longer a linear process. It's really all over the place. So of course, companies like us have to be in this space, have to be able to participate. Also because in Singapore in particular, and I'm not really sure how this compares to Malaysia, but in Singapore you have this very, very strong, because of the high internet penetration and the proliferation of mobile and smartphones, there really is a lot of people who do a lot of research online. In fact, 72% of people research online in our industry in particular before they make any kind of purchase. And as you can see here, a lot of them are actually doing the purchasing offline, even though they've done a lot of their research online. Here's another way to look at it. If you look at the reach of traditional media, the Straits Times column on the left, you compare that to the reach of YouTube and compare that to the reach of Facebook in a market like Singapore, especially in the young adult age range, you can really see that you're missing a lot of the audience by not being in these two key channels. And these are just two of them. Okay, so we were there. Here was the situation we were in. We had to do something about it. We had to decide, where then do we go from here? And so we said, let's first of all identify some objectives. And the first thing we decided to do is we have to grow this fan base. At the time, we had about 7,000, 8,000 fans, early 2011. And we said that 7,000, 8,000 fans is not really a lot, is not really a large enough fan base or community to really be able to do anything meaningful with it. So we said, let's see how big we can grow that. Let's just grow that as much as we can. But of course, we also have to maintain high engagement. It's not just about bribing fans to like your page. It also has to be about how often you get to bring them back, how often you get to interact with them, how much you can learn from them, etc. And the third really critical one is that we wanted to develop social media into a credible customer service extension. Credible customer service extension, I'll explain in a little bit. But basically to use Facebook in the same way that people today use the hotline or the email, the website. So we said, let's take all of these things together. Let's take our brand offerings, let's take what is the essence of our brand and what are our business objectives. And we have found, and we decided that we're going to build a community around shared passions. Now, passions is a very, very powerful word, and probably not a word that a lot of people would associate with their mobile phone company. But we then thought, in Singtel, we actually have quite a few interesting things that are associated with our brand. So as I mentioned, we have a cable TV business called Mio TV. We also have a music service called AMP. We have, among other things, relationships with a number of pretty cool brands that people are passionate about, like Formula One. So we put all these things together and he said, let's find out what are the things that our customers are actually passionate about. And we identified 5. And these passion points become the pillars of our content strategy. And the 5 are sports, in particular football, entertainment, which takes the form of either movies or television, music, and of course gadgets, and finally corporate social responsibility. Because of course CSR is one of the things that really, in many ways, allows people to really feel or really get to decide whether they feel something for your brand or not. And then we said we have to think about what is our online personality. Now, I always like to use these 2 examples of what kind of persona you project when you're in social media. The guy on the left is what I think a lot of corporates end up doing. They become Larry the insurance salesman. So Larry the insurance salesman, now everybody must have a Larry in their lives somehow. So Larry is your friend who sells insurance. Now, you've known Larry for a long time and he's a good buddy of yours. But there's one thing about Larry that you've noticed in the last several times that you've met up with him, is that every time he said, hey buddy, let's get together for a drink, let's have coffee, the conversation always ends up being about buying more insurance. So what happens to your relationship with Larry? You basically decide, oh, I don't want to hang around with this guy anymore, right? I think the correct personality, and this is still the personality that we try to aspire towards, is Stuart, the comic book store owner. How many fans of Big Bang Theory are there in the audience? Okay, so you all recognize the photo, right? So Stuart, actually my comic book store owner in Singapore, his shop is in Bugis and his name is actually Beng An. Anyway, Beng An, this is the way Beng An's shop is set up. You walk in and you pretty much know how things are laid out. You've got your graphic novels here, Marvel comics over there, DC comics over here, action figures over here. You know where everything is when you walk in. Everything's easy to find. And you also bump into your friends there, right? And you sit around and you talk about comic books and you recommend stuff to each other. And sometimes Beng An will join in the conversation and he'll suggest stuff because he remembers what you bought before and he remembers what you like. But most of the time, he's really perfectly content to just sit back and let you all have your discussions among yourselves. I think in many ways, that is pretty much the way big brands have to behave within social media. Because social media, a big brand in social media is a participant in social media not unlike everybody else. So it's very, very hard to come in as Larry and be easily switched off. We think you need to aspire to be more like Stuart, the comic book store owner. Now, we couldn't just, having thought all this stuff, we still couldn't just jump into it. We still had to rally a lot of internal support in the organization. And I think, again, this is something that a lot of companies underestimate. It's very easy to underestimate how easy or how difficult it is to actually maintain social media, because social media is, I don't know who said this, but it's not a sprint. It's more like a marathon, right? You got to keep going, you got to keep running. And the only way to do that over a long period of time is with the right kind of internal support. Because if it's just the little fringe group within the marketing team, they're going to run out of steam really fast. So we had to think about staffing, resourcing, training. We hired social media managers, hired a community manager, we hired a dedicated customer care team. These guys actually sit and are part of the customer care organization, but their full-time job is to do nothing but monitor our Facebook page. And finally, sourcing content, because again, content is what it's all about, right? Content is what keeps people coming back. Content is the real reason people come to social media, right? It's the thing that they're actually interested in. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So this is the kind of organization we have within Singtel running our social media strategy. And you can see I actually wrote down how many people approximately we have internally. And you can see that we actually formed a body called the editorial board that looks after this stuff within Singtel. And again, it's not just marketing. It includes corporate communications. It includes customer care. It includes the content guys, the people from TV, the people from the music part, the people from the digital apps groups. So all of these guys have to participate in this process. And of course, marketing is also part of that. So this is pretty much how we were in terms of growing our fans from the first 6 months as we were getting all these things in place, hiring the team, trying to get our act together. And then we finally said go, and we started implementing, and this was for about June, July. And we grew by about 92,000 fans in the second half of last year. And we now have, as of today, I think 108,000 fans. Fans are, of course, a nice way, it's very tangible, it's a very nice way of showing that you're effective. It helps you get more budget from your boss during budget time next year. It's a nice little number to go after. But again, it is in very many ways the first step. Because when you're at 700,000 or 800,000, again, that's not really a large enough group to really do anything meaningful. But once you're over 100,000, then it starts to get really, really interesting. So this is how we've done it, right? So a lot of the things that we've done is not just kind of think of it in terms of campaigns, but to try and integrate Facebook into everything we do. So everything that Singtel does in marketing, more often than not, will now have a Facebook component. So every time we launch a new product, the Facebook team sits there together with everybody else. If there's a crisis situation, if there's, the rare times that the network goes down and people have to discuss the correct crisis response strategy towards it, it's not just customer care and the network guys and corp comms that sits in a room, but the Facebook team sits in that room as well, because they are a key part of this communication. So here's one of the examples that we had. Singtel brought in to Singapore last year Lady Gaga for it was called a showcase. So we didn't actually sell tickets to the event, but we actually staged an event where Lady Gaga came and performed exclusively for Singtel customers. And so we created this program whereby people could come in, and we ran this on Facebook. People could come in and Gagify yourself. So there's a clever little app. You upload a picture. You can include props like this, add a wig or sunglasses or whatever to make yourself more Gaga-ish. And the best one, the best ones won tickets to go to the event. So this was the big winner here. This photo in the center. 15-year-old girl from Singapore. There's also a lot of interesting content that we have. Again, we do have quite a relationship, a long-standing relationship now with Formula One and the Singapore Grand Prix. So part of that is Singtel has its own property called the Grid Girls, which is kind of like a beauty pageant personality contest that's done every year. And so again, in conjunction with this, we kind of ceased the process of setting up standalone microsites and just moved everything into Facebook. So we can manage all the content there. We can build the community off the back of this property. And eventually we said, okay, now we have to think about real kind of content creation. And to do that, we wanted to do it using video. And so we launched our own YouTube channel and our own weekly YouTube show called TGIS. So before we did that, we actually conducted this talent competition. So we got some of the local celebrities in a room, and we shortlisted. I had a very, very hard task of actually having to sift through 200 videos of pretty young women kind of showing off their talents and showing how good they were and how they might be a good show host for TGIS. So we narrowed that down to 15, I think it was. So we narrowed it down to the 15, and then we had this American Idol style thing where they came up and they read and they did some ad lib and they took Q&A from a panel of judges. And from there we found our host. And we're now, I believe, on episode 14 or 15 of this show. Here's one episode that we did. I'll show you an episode later. I'd show you more videos, but I really don't have a lot of time right now. This is, again, an example of how Singtel does, for example, a new product launch. So again, in TGIS, we don't go into price plans, or we don't, it's not advertising, all right? It has to be, we pick an aspect of the product, in this case, the Nokia Lumia, that we thought was discussed a lot online and people are really interested about. And one of the things that we found out, that what we realized as we were researching, is that people are very interested in the durability. Nokia is very known for making durable phones. So we said, okay, let's test it. So what we did in this episode is we actually dropped it a few times and had a bunch of people actually come up and we dare you to drop this phone and see how it looks and see how it fares after that. So that got over 64,000 views, quite a bit of engagement around it. We've also integrated now our work in Facebook around all of the big sales that we do throughout the year through Singtel. And we've now created a program. We're actually starting to experiment for the first time with social commerce, where we actually get people to use Facebook to recommend phone deals to their friends and incentivize them to do so. So in this case, if I'm not wrong, we actually worked out something whereby if your friend ended up buying one of the phone plans that, because of your recommendation, it got you Zouk Out tickets. Zouk Out, for those of you who know, is a very, very sought-after event that happens once a year in Singapore.